It's the Hell Fucking Yeah podcast.
Hey,
Matt, what's up, man?
yeah, man, how you doing?
All right, not bad. How about yourself?
Awesome. Yeah,
Awesome.
So how's your bro doing?
Oh man, he's great. He said hello, obviously, you know.
Yeah.
He showed me this. He gave me this. I don't know if you remember this.
Oh.
So you guys ripped it in half, and if you look close, that's your blood.
Wait.
That's your blood, like right next to the E.
Man, I've learned how to bleed better now.
And I don't know if you still have the other half, but his blood is on your half. So I guess like a blood brother thing, who knows?
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. What's he do now? What's he got going on?
He's making music.
Yeah, okay, cool. He's still doing that.
He's got his studio.
Nice.
Just pumping them out.
Yeah, I remember back in the day. I mean, he introduced me to like EPMD when we rolled through New York back in '87. And just a few of the classics that stuck with me my whole life. So
absolutely,
yeah,
man. So first of all, Mat Hoffman, welcome to the Hell Fucking Yeah podcast. Thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate it. You did not have to do this, and you're doing it, and you're phenomenal for it. Thank you so much. So where are you living now?
I'm still same place. Actually, probably, yeah. I live pretty much just a few miles from where I've always lived. So yeah, I'm in Oklahoma City.
Nice. Yeah, I'm back to where I grew up too. I'm right around the corner from my parents' house. My brother's right around the corner.
Oh yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah. So, this is normally where I'd say, for those who may not know Mat Hoffman, but who the fuck doesn't know Mat Hoffman? I always say if my mom knows who I'm interviewing, I got someone huge. Speaking of my mom, Mrs. G says hello.
Yeah.
And she reminded me the other day when you guys were touring with Team Harrow, and you were staying at my parents' house here on Long Island, and she was looking over the house for you, probably to she's Italian, so it's probably trying to force feed you something.
Yeah, I know that.
And she wound up, you were in my room. I was maybe 5 or 6, and you were hanging with me, playing with my Superman doll.
And I was always a little younger than, I always kind of was a perma 12-year-old. So
listen, man, I still play with Superman dolls. And how many people can say that they had Mat Hoffman in their room playing with their Superman doll? I'm just a lucky guy, man.
Kind of creepy, but sorry about that.
Not creepy at all, man. Awesome, amazing.
Okay, good.
Yeah, definitely. As a matter of fact, come on over, man. I got some Superman dolls now.
Yeah.
Well, so I want to get into a little bit of the BMX, and then we'll talk about some other things. What age did you start riding, and when did you know BMX was it?
Man, let's see here. I kind of started out racing motorcycles, and because I had a cousin that raced motorcycles, so he would bring me to the MX tracks, and I was really into that, but I think it was my parents weren't that stoked on it, because it was just like I would come back full of mud, and whenever I'd bring them out there, they just hear warring engines all day, and they're just like, we aren't real stoked on supporting this, but I had other means of support, so I did that for a while, but then I just really got into jumping motorcycles, and I was just and so I would be that guy on the track that would hit all the jumps and go as high as I could, and it would just piss all the racers off because they wanted to stay low, and they were just like, "Oh, you're endangering us and stuff." And I was just like, "What? I'm just riding, this is
right.
Having fun." And then that's when I saw BMX freestyle or bicycle stunt riding, and it was just a sport that totally evolved around jumping and stuff. And I was like, "Oh, that's what I need to be doing." So I got a bike. I mowed a bunch of yards and got myself a bike, and just started riding. And yeah, I just started kind of jumping dirt jumps like most people start out with, and then my uncle was a carpenter, and so the BMX Action came out with plans on how to build that 6-foot sketchy quarter pipe that they had, and so I was like, oh man, I talked him into building it for me, and so I just I remember remember getting up there and I was just thinking about dropping in. And then my oldest brother, I have two brothers, and my oldest brother, I'm the youngest, but my oldest brother, he was like, yeah, I'll hold you in place and you can just kind of see what it's like. And I should have known, because it's like being the youngest, I think that's where my pain tolerance came from, is I just got kind of beat down all the time.
Sure.
Or just bad jokes that ended in my demise. But yeah, so I was up there and he just let me go, and I was like, and I rode out of it, and I was just totally in my mind, I was just like, I'm dead, there's no way I'm going to survive this. And then I like rode out of it, and I was just like, I think when I rolling away, I was just like, man, that was totally something I would have never done, and I would have never thought I could have done, and I just did it. What else can I do that I don't think I can do? And I think after I thought that, I was like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep figuring out I'm going to keep scaring myself. I'm going to keep challenging myself. And then I remember later that week or something, I was just dropping in on myself, but I had this super high seat post, and I went to drop in. The seat post got stuck. I got stuck behind the seat post of the seat, kind of hit me in the gut because I couldn't get over my bike. And I just, next thing I know, I woke up unconscious on the ground. And I just and it was the first time I knocked myself out, and I was by myself, and I just woke up, and I just had, and I've knocked myself out so many times. I mean, but this was one of the first times that I just had tunnel vision. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but it's just like everything's kind of foggy all around here, and you just have like these two little holes you can look out
Sure.
at. And I was like, whoa, what the? And I just didn't know what was going on, and so yeah, I think I mean, I recovered from that, and I survived. So and I just that became probably one of my best my best tricks is like creative ways on knocking myself out.
Yeah. So what drew you to the style of vert?
I think it's just mainly because you could just build in your backyard, and I, and a little kid, I didn't have, when I didn't have any means, I lived out in the country. And so you just had to kind of invent your own fun. I mean, nothing really came your way unless you figured it out. So
Right.
I think that was kind of the idea, is it was just something that I could control or whatever, and then I just really, I think in my genetic makeup, I'm all about all my brothers are pilots, and I should say my two brothers and my dad are pilots. And so we all kind of had aviation in our skin. And I think that's kind of a form. I mean, I ride my bike as a form of aviation in a sense, because I just like to fly. And I use my bike to, feel like the wheels are rudders, and, I can just kind of maneuver my bike in the sky. So I think
Sure.
that's probably it, because I like to go big, and just kind of look down and get good views.
Absolutely. So what age did you start competing?
There's an AFA Masters contest that came through Tulsa, Oklahoma back in the 80s. It might have been like 85.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to that. It might have been 84. I'm not sure, but I went to that, and it was just, I forget. I don't remember what I did. I might've won. I don't know, but I mean, I was just I hated competing, because it was just like, I don't know. It just always made me so nervous and stuff. And
yeah,
but then I got the opportunity to go out to Madison Square Garden and ride. I don't think it was an AFA contest. It was like a General was putting it on, maybe. General Bikes, that company a long time ago. And I think I like riding in my backyard all the time and getting magazines and stuff. I didn't ever compare myself of how good I was riding or what I was doing, or if it was even comparable to what was happening. But I figured, I didn't think that I really was anywhere on par of anything going on in the community. And then when I got there and started riding, I was going pretty high, and I was doing original tricks, like, just switch handers or just stuff that I'd come up with that other people hadn't done yet. And so I think it just got some people got some recognition, and kind of that's whenever Skyway. Yeah, I think I started hanging out with Eddie Roman there, and then he talked like Ken Coster to pick me up, and then after that I went. They flew me out to Redding, California, and I remember I was just supposed to meet the team, and we're gonna do like a show at this local bike shop there, because that's where Skyway, their factory was, or that's where their headquarters was, and like my first air, I think, or something, I just like, the ramp was a little set up over vert, and I just kind of landed nose, flipped, fractured my collarbone, and went home.
Wow.
I was like, welcome to the team. Okay, I'll see you in 4 or 5 months.
Right. Well, that's the thing too. The sport of BMX and freestyle and vert and all those things, at this time in history, this was the dawn of it. There was no guidebook. It was people like you and my brother and everyone else around that time who pretty much invented and innovated this whole thing. So it's pretty amazing, man.
So that was the beauty of it, is that there wasn't any definition. There was like, it was a reflection of your imagination, whatever you could do, that's what it was. And it was just kind of like a reflection of who you are. So it's kind of that's why I always kind of refer to it as like a sport as art, because it's like, no one else can tell you what it is. You have to discover it and find out what it is for yourself. And that's why I loved riding with your brother and stuff is like Joe, he was definitely that dude. He had his own style, and he was just like, his passions was DJing and making music too. And he's still following those passions. And so it's just kind of like, we're just lucky that we could just subscribe to what we love and just try to keep figuring out and figure out where it brings us, and then just figure out how to make do when we get there,
Absolutely. So as if this is correct, your biggest air, 26.5 feet.
Yeah, probably so. I mean, it was like, that was 26.5 feet. I rode Danny's ramp. I think I got like around between 25 and, we didn't really have any like measuring pole that was very accurate, but his ramp was, I guess why I bring his ramp up is because that ramp I got 26.5 on was 24 feet tall, and his ramp was 30 feet tall. So it was almost like, it was kind of a bigger air, even though it wasn't a bigger air,
Right.
That was kind of a comparable air. So that was like in 2015.
Yeah.
And then the other one was like back in, I don't know, it was a long time ago, like 90 something. Yeah. Oh wait, no, it wasn't. That was the original one. It was 90, 91, 94, and then 91, 94. And then that one I think was like maybe 2000 something, like 2001, maybe.
Yeah. Right. Did you ever try to beat it?
Yeah, well, that's what, when I was riding Danny's ramp. Yeah, I was like, I mean, I kind of, but see, that's my problem is that's like the, that's the problem with riding, is it's like, especially if you're trying to push something and you're like thinking about numbers, and you're thinking about, something that really has nothing to do with the moment, like that's where my mind gets messed up, because and that's when I went to Danny's ramp. I was like, okay, numbers out of my mind. I have no obligation on this. This is all Danny's creation. He just invited me out here to kind of test ride it with him, make sure it worked, type of thing. And so I'm just going to let the moment tell me what the next moment's going to be. And I'm not going to put any expectation on myself. And whenever I feel like I'm good, I'm going to be good, and because most of the time, like I wanted to kind of prove to myself that I could walk away, because most of the time I just get so amped up, and I'm just like, I push it so hard that I just like blow myself up. And then next thing I know, I'm getting hauled off to the hospital. And so I was just like, man, I'm just gonna ride it and just kind of let the moment tell me what the next moment should be. And I'm just going to push it naturally, and just let my instinct kind of take over, and just not put any like number goals in front of me. And then, and then I remember I walked away from that one, and I was pretty stoked on it. But then Danny like built a bigger roll, like he raised the roll in like another 6 or 7 feet or something. And he's asked me if I wanted to come back out, and I came back out to ride it again. And then I was just like, I remember being up there, and I was like, like I could probably be done. I feel pretty good about the day, but if I did walk away from this ramp, I'd probably always think I left something on it. So I rolled in, and then, I blew up, and fractured my collarbone again, knocked myself out for like probably 7 minutes. But there was a weird crash because it was like, I hit hard and I was KO'd. And when I woke up, and what happened was this arm, I've had 4 rotator cuff operations on this arm. And so it's partially paralyzed. And that's why I always had to have that brace to kind of hold it down. It had a string on it, you know, and when I shake hands, I got to assist, you know, like this. But, but like this arm, it just gives out sometimes. And when I started going back and seeing all my crashes on that big ramp and trying to study them, like, wait, why do I keep crashing the same way? It's like, I'd always land with too much pressure on this arm, and this arm couldn't sustain me. And I just spanked my face, you know? And that's what happened on Danny's ramp. And I think also I landed a little low, and his ramp was kind of like it was an elliptical transition, which was strange because it was 30 feet tall, but it was like a 30-foot radius that went into a 25-foot radius at the top. And what that felt like is it kind of equated the G's out, you know, like when you hit a ramp, you kind of have like max G in the center, and then it's like really light at the tip, especially like big ramps, you know, you're like featherweight at the tip where you're fingertippy. And his ramp, he was wanting more pressure at the top so he could pop his tail and get a good ollie out, you know, and not have to case. He was just really trying to make sure he didn't case. And so what that did is whenever you have the elliptical tranny like that, it kind of equated your G's into one solid G going all the way up the ramp. So there wasn't a rhythm to the ramp, you know. It was just like, it was like a solid G, and you just kind of equated it, try to zero it out once you just left the lip. And so it was a different kind of way of riding and thinking about blasting out of something. But I think whenever you landed a little low, you land on the fat tranny, and that fat tranny comes with a lot of G's. And so if I landed low, I think I landed a little too low, and those G's just took my arm out, and I just like spanked. But yeah, that was probably the last time I challenged my big ramp.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize how much math is involved, right? And physics and things like that. It's insane. One of your biggest inspirations, the late great Evel Knievel, rest in peace. You actually became great friends with Evel in the 90s, and even did a film with the Jackass crew, Mat Hoffman's tribute to Evel Knievel. So during your friendship or whatever you guys were doing stunts together, was there ever a time where Evel, the greatest Daredevil in the world, said to you, "Don't do that"?
Yeah, no, there was never a time Evel told me not to do something.
No.
But yeah, Evel, he was such a rad dude, because he was just like, he was just full of passion, but he was also very what would you say, he was just kind of manic both ways, in in being ecstatic about something or being pissed off about something, but either way. And he could be those two manic people in the same sentence, you know. So sometimes you were just like, he'd call you, and he would just start off just calling you an asshole and just getting all pissed, and then he would I think that's why we became such good friends, is he was kind of an intimidating, he was an exercise to be his friend, and it was just like, and it was sometimes exhausting, and it was intimidating too. And so you just kind of had to go on these roller coasters with him sometimes. And a lot of his other friends were just like, "Bro, Evel, I don't have the energy to pick that up right now," you know. So when he called me, I'd be like, "Evel, dude, I owe it to him to pick it up," you know. So it'd be like 2 a.m. or something. I'd be like, "Oh, this is gonna be a ride," you know. And but yeah, I don't know. He was a rad dude to kind of, well, I think what I learned mainly from Evel that really helped me in my life is that, you know, you don't have to change. In my life, everybody's like, "Oh, you're gonna grow up, and you're gonna get smarter, and you're gonna learn that this stuff is crazy, and you're gonna learn that swinging on a porch on your chair swinging in a bench on your porch is that's what you're gonna learn is a better life or something," you know. And I didn't really register with that, and I remember last time I saw Evel, he would just come through town because he'd drive his Winnebago all the time, And I think it's because he was actually scared of flying, I think. And so
Wow.
he would drive his Winnebago. I know it's kind of ironic, but you know, he would drive through Oklahoma, and he'd just give me a call, and he'd be like, "Hey man, you want to get some food?" And I'm like, "Of course," you know. And I remember I think we just had our first child, my wife JC and I, and you know, I got, you know, a lot of people said, okay, when you have kids, you're gonna chill out, you know. And so when I had whenever Gianna was born, I was like, I just wanted to celebrate life, and how I celebrate life is just challenging life, you know. And so I think the first thing I did was I went out to the drop zone and hired a sky van that opens up from the back door, kind of opens up, you know. And then I just rode my bike out of the back of it, just flying it around the sky. And then I was like, man, I'm gonna go big too again. And so I built a 24-foot ramp, and this is when I realized that I need to like not have numbers in my head, because I had 30 feet in my head, you know.
Right.
And I just like, and I just kept pushing. I just never like, if you do that, it kind of overrides your instinct. And if you don't listen to that, it's easier to die. You know, it's like, you don't know, like, you don't know whenever you're done for the day or whatever. And so I just kept pushing it. And then I crashed. I hit my head so hard that I was in a mild coma for a while. I ripped my helmet, actually broke. Wow. The face broke in, and it like ripped you might see a little scar right there, but it ripped my lip off, and they had to like do plastic surgery and put my lip back on. And
shit.
And I just like, I woke up, and I had you know, I finally got home. I had black eyes, and I was just like stitches in my face and Evel calls. And I was like, man, I'm gonna go hang out with Evel. And I realized, and he was talking about, I think when I went and hung out with him, he was talking about this jump that he was going to do in Vegas, you know?
Yeah.
And the man could barely, we were sitting in this booth having dinner, and he had to go to the bathroom. It took him like, I don't know, 15 minutes to get out of the booth, you know? And I'm thinking he's still dreaming of going big and doing this huge gap to open up some casino in Vegas. It's like, you know, all these people after, because I think right after I crashed, and you know, it was a pretty, I mean, the doctors were not giving the best signals to my family about, as far as like my conditions and how I was going to recover and stuff. And so they, and, you know, I have a little kid, and so my family and like my friends are just like, what is your problem? You know, you need to, you know, like you need to chill out. And I'm just like, and I'm just thinking, I am who I am. It's not like I have a choice, you know. It's like, I didn't decide, okay, I'm going to be this dude. It's like, this is just the dude I am. And so I was like, but maybe I need to figure out some sort of counseling or something to figure out my brain, or why I have to do this stuff. And then when I hung out with Evel, I was like, you know, I don't have to figure nothing out. I am who I am, you know.
That's right. That's right.
Like, I'm sorry, you know. It's like, if you can't handle it, that's the way I dream. That's the way I live, and it's like, that's my prerogative, you know. It's like, I don't know. I mean, if that bugs you, then I'm sorry. It's your problem, you know.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So
I'm sure you haven't kept count, but like, how many times do you think you like cheated death?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, geez, it's like, it's a daily occurrence, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard, but yeah, I think the one time, I've seen death really close to me so many times, and I base jump a lot, and I don't really post much about base jumping because it's illegal and I could get busted for my posts. So, but you know, I've probably base jumped, you know, probably 7 or 8 times this year, and it's like, I like that because it's like you see death, you see the ground, you know, coming, and you're like, psych, you don't get it, you know, and you just like open up and just land. But one time I was like, I was driving to pick up my daughter, and I came to a stop sign, and there's a red Blazer on my right, and he's like, yeah, go ahead. So I went ahead and went, and there's a semi truck coming from the left that didn't see the stop sign, and it just like T-boned me going 50 miles an hour, and it rode over my car, and then the back wheels of the trailer kicked me and spun me like 8 times into a tree.
Wow.
And then I hit my head because I didn't have a seatbelt on, and and I just like was unconscious, and I woke up, and that messed my shoulder up this last time. I had to get surgery on it, and this was in like 2007, and it was just so much. And I was just like, I've seen, that was another time that I saw, I saw death come close, but it was just like, I was just so much more like, I don't know. It was like, maybe that's my, I get to challenge my life. You don't get to challenge my life.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, that's
yeah.
my job. I get to risk my life. You don't get to do that for me. And it was just like, I was just like, dang. And so it's a different, I see death a lot, but it's like, it's something that I'm I feel like I'm in control of, of some sense, because it's like, I don't do it because I have a death wish. It's because I like to live the way I live. And that's how, once you live that way, you can't live any other way, I feel. And it's like, and I just like, I train really hard, it's like, I've been base jumping since 97, I've been jumping out of planes since I was 16, like, and I'm almost 50 now. So it's like, so it's like, and I do this stuff because I respect the dangers, and I work really hard at doing it to where I know every element of it to where I won't die. and with bikes too, it's like, I mean, I've ridden bikes my whole life. I know that's part of my body, and so I like, so yeah, I definitely am, I definitely have come close a lot of times, but it's not because I have any, I want to die. I just,
of course. Well, I mean, you're definitely superhuman, man. I stubbed my toe and I'm out of commission for like a week. So I don't know, man. So during any time of your career, throughout all the insane stunts, did you ever say, no, I'm not doing this?
Like, whenever I did get hit by that semi truck, it took 4 years for my body to recover. And it was the first time that I ever thought that I'm taken out, I can't move my arm anymore. It's like, my doctor would never discourage me every time I would get injured. He would just always, he just says, my job is to put you back together and let you live your passion. And so he would never try to preach to me, and never try to be like a psychiatrist to me or anything. But this time he was just like, bro, this shoulder is, it's not gonna work anymore. It's like, I don't know if you're ever gonna ride again. And it's the first time I ever believed that I would never ride again. And so yeah, and then when I got back on my bike, I was, I started realizing, whoa, I mean, before, I just was always like, when people said what I did was crazy or hard or whatever, I'm like, what? That's what I do. It's like sitting on a couch to me or whatever, or watching, it's like,
right.
It's just part of my natural life or whatever. So I don't see the danger in it, I mean, I guess I see the danger in it, but I don't see how difficult it is to people. But whenever you haven't done it in a while, and you then try to reassess, oh wait, I used to do this, and then I come back on my bike, I was like, wow, I see now, this stuff is really hard, and it's like, it's tough to do. And so I was like, and then I was just assessing my fears and just how I could kind of ride again and manage it and be able to focus and get my skill back. And that's when I started realizing, like, my whole life, I was in a lucky position to be able to perform for people and to be able to do shows and things. But I always kind of looked at myself a little bit vicariously through the audience and through people through layman's perspective, of who I was and what I did. And so I had to lose that, because I just had to, I had to do it for myself. And I was like, wait, I like to stoke people out, but I have to figure out that this is mine, and I got to be selfish with it. This is what I love. And if I'm going to figure this out again, it's got to be all for me. And so I just started riding. That's why I just have those backyard sessions in my backyard again, because I realized, without nobody around, because I just wanted to be by myself. And I just wanted to turn riding into my kind of Zen meditation moment, and just let it be what it is, and then appreciate everything for what it is and what it feels like to me. Because even if I crash sometimes, like if I'm in front of an audience, I'd be like, oh man, I suck. I got to get up and do that again. But sometimes I crash. I'm like, wow, that was the funnest thing I did all day. Like,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so I just kind of reassessed, I guess, what riding was and just how I did it, and that I had to, I had to appreciate, I had to stop seeing my riding as something, as someone else's entertainment, and more of something for my like mind balance,
Absolutely.
psychological,
Yeah.
whatever. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So I mentioned it before. You were in, you're part of the Jackass Presents Mat Hoffman's tribute to Evel Knievel. You're also in all the Jackass movies. What's it like being around those guys? I mean, I know it's definitely fun, but it's got to be tense at times. You don't know if you're gonna, get part of your hair cut off or be covered in tar and feathers. Or so yeah. What's it like being around those guys?
Yeah, no, it was an extension of what was already going on in my life, because it's like those guys are Jeff Tremaine and Spike Jones,
right?
That really first kind of stimulated this idea or whatever, and of course, it's grown into the crazy cast they have. But growing up with those guys, I mean, I would, especially Spike, because he was like, I would travel a lot with Spike, because Jeff, he was more of like the editor of the magazine stuff. So he would stay and keep the shop in order, and he would make sure that the magazine was produced or whatever. But Spike, he was the guy that traveled with me and went to all the contests and tours and would shoot photos and stuff. And some of the stuff, some of the best Jackass stuff I have ever witnessed was with no cameras around.
Of course.
With those guys, and I would just,
yeah.
And some of it was just so funny, because I mean, Spike, he could do the thing that if you or I ever did it, we would get the shit kicked out of us. And, we would remember that lesson for the rest of our life, but
right.
He somehow puts on this like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just like, I just didn't know any better, kind of this innocent tone that everybody's like, oh, it's okay, buddy. Like, and by the time I'd get punched in the face, and he would get his hand shaken and be like, all right, just be careful next time, buddy. Whatever. And so it was just amazing just how he could like just defuse the situation all the time.
Right.
Amazing. And then they just turned it into Jackass. And I remember when I first saw Jackass, I went out. I was out to California for something. I think I was like something with the video game I was doing back then.
Yeah.
And so PJ or Knoxville and Tremaine came over to show me this thing that they're pitching to Comedy Central, because they hadn't shown it they were first going to put it on Comedy Central, and Comedy Central just said, no, man, we aren't going to do that. Yeah. There's the one where Knoxville did all the self-defense tests and stuff. Yes. And it was and he shot himself, and but yeah, it was. But then we were like, I remember that night we watched it, and I was just like, man, that's going to be amazing or whatever. I was just kind of thinking of just how people are going to respond, or how people's reaction to their tomfoolery was going to be. And we were at this bar in this fancy hotel, and then there's this like bunch of plants and a bunch of trees and these big pots and stuff around this big pool. And Knoxville just started going, man, these trees need water. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, man, these trees really need water. Look how dry they are. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. And then he just starts throwing them in the pool. And I was just like, and all these cows come up, and it's like, and I mean, that was pretty funny. They got us all kind of in like, got us all suspended, and like, and we're just like, the cops were just, I remember the cops started yelling at me, and is like, and I was like, wait, I was just laughing or whatever. But he's like, and they had PJ all handcuffed, and the guy just, and I was just still kind of laughing at PJ or Knoxville, because he was just like, he was, he's just funny. He's a funny dude.
He's insane.
And just like making me laugh and stuff. And then the cop comes up to me, and he's like, boy, he's like, you want to see pain? You don't know what pain is like. I'm going to show you what pain is. And I just started laughing
Wow.
even more because I'm like, you don't understand. I really do know what pain's like. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
and the Knoxville is just like, hey man, you really don't understand. Like that guy does know pain. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of curious now. I really want to.
Yeah.
I'm really curious on what kind of pain influence on me. Because I'm like, I'm kind of that's what I do is I have to manage pain. And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
Absolutely. It's funny. I remember before Jackass came out, they had Big Brother.
Right.
And Big Brother, had the video where Johnny Knoxville shooting himself with the vest on and, tasing himself and all that stuff. Never a million years would I think a year later it'd be on MTV, and then what it's become now, it's crazy. It became like a sensation.
Yeah, they were doing another one, and I was like packed up, ready to go out there because they had some skit with parachutes. I packed up a bunch of parachutes, and I was going to go out there last April, and that's when everything got shut down. So,
yeah, Jackass 4 is coming out this year.
Yeah, at some point. I haven't heard anything about it, but yeah, I think they're going to do another one.
So let's talk about Hoffman Bikes a little bit. When did you start the company, and what made you want to start it?
It was in like 91. I started working on it, and at first I basically it was because I wanted to ride that big ramp. I was building a big ramp, and I was seeing, and through the 80s and 90s, I just started seeing the bikes fail, and the main thing that I saw fail was the forks. And it was because it was a two-piece forks, and it was pressed in, and then they put welds all around the steer tube, and then they welded on the blades, and then it made so much heat there that it kept snapping, and I kept seeing people break their necks. And I'm like,
right.
Okay, I'm gonna go like way bigger than any of these people I've seen these bikes fail with, and nobody is making bikes to the caliber that I need to keep myself alive. So
yeah.
I guess I need to make my own bike. And so I started talking with Chris Gack, and he had the new one-piece steer he was going to do that was machined. And so then so I just made, well, first I kind of talked to Lynn Caston, and I designed the Condor with Lynn. And for people that don't know Lynn Caston, he's a legendary, contributor in the bike industry. He designed tubular forks. He was the first person to invent tubular forks, or like things that you think were just there all the time, like the crossbar and a handlebar.
Right.
That was Lynn Caston invented the crossbar and the handlebar. It's like things, or three-piece cranks. He invented three-piece cranks, like because he started Redline, and he owned Redline for a while, so he invented the Redline cranks. And so it's just like, and then he came out with like the one leg fork, which scared the hell out of me. But anyway, he was just an innovator, and he just like would challenge how bikes were invented. And what I want to do is I just wanted to reinvent the bike. I was like, okay, I just need to challenge everything that how the bike's made. So that's why I made the one-piece steer. I did the handlebars where I had 1-inch grips instead of 7/8 grips, and yeah, I just kind of redesigned it that I could trust my life with what I had under my feet. Is basically what I started hopping bikes for. And then yeah, just it's a tough business, but it's definitely, it's taught me a lot. It's taught me how to it's a good schooling. I probably lost more money in that school of the hard knocks than I would have if I just would have hired a college to teach me all that stuff. But but yeah, it's been fun. And now on the 30th anniversary, I just wanted to bring it all. I do everything myself now. I just wanted to go back DIY and just kind of rebirth Hoffman Bikes and just kind of start over. And so that's what I've done. Is I'm just kind of coming out with. I designed all the bikes, all the complete bikes myself, and of course, co-designed the frames with the pros that are the signature models of these frames, and just I'm waiting for the complete bikes to come out, but they're going to be here in June. It's just been crazy. This pandemic has made everybody want to buy bikes, and it's
yeah, man.
Hard.
It was very necessary too for you to create a bike for riders. It was like, I feel like a lot of things that are not only bikes, things that are made, they're not made by the people who use them. And they're not,
yeah, right.
like you said, you want to trust your life with it. So, Congratulations on 30 years with that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So did you ever work like a, quote unquote normal job, like hourly job, punch a clock kind of thing?
No. Let me think here. I think I mean, I kind of, I would drive tractors around and try to mow people's yards for $20 or something. But when I was a little kid, and but yeah, it seemed like once I was 14, I was kind of already starting to travel and do shows and things. So yeah, I never really had a real job. I mean, my job's always been just, seems like I've never had a 9 to 5 job. My job's like 24/7 job, because it's like,
Right.
it's like, I just always have something I got to create or make or do, or, it's just, it's like whenever you're an independent dude, you're always hustling and you're always trying to figure out tomorrow. And there's never a guarantee of no one's bringing anything to you. So you got to go out and find it, or you have to make it, or you have to create it, or you have to create it, find something that has an audience, or, so you're always kind of trying to, it's like, what am I going to do this year? It's not like I have a contract with somebody, it's like, I don't have sponsors anymore. I don't endorse anybody. And so yeah, it's like it's a constant kind of like, all right, well, especially with having kids and then they're going through college, like, oh great, man, I gotta figure out how to provide.
Absolutely. I was just going to bring that up too. You're a family man, wife and kids. Any of the kids following in your footsteps?
They're very passionate in what they do. I mean, Gianna, she's very talented in theater and acting, and she's going to Winston-Salem School of the Arts right now in North Carolina, and she's very talented and she's beautiful, and so she's following her dreams and stuff. And Jet, he likes to ride and skateboard, and we go to the park together quite a bit, and but he's also like, whenever I think I tried to influence him a little bit on getting into music, because I always loved music, but I was always kind of, I always liked to ride bikes more than play music. And so and my brain can become really one-tracked and just addicted to something I love, and so that's why I just like rode bikes all the time and didn't play music quite much. And when Jet, I was like, like, I love my life. I love what I did, and I wouldn't sacrifice any slam or any injury, but it took a lot of heart, and it took a lot of passion for me to accept the life I live. And it's not, people might see all the glory in a life like mine, as far as like admirations for whatever accomplishments, but those come with a tax, and that tax is painful. And it's like, and you get beat down a lot, and it gets very discouraging, and it's like, and it's depressing. And it takes hard to get to that to where I've gotten to be able to ride and stuff. And you have to accept a lot of failure to get there. And I'm just like, that's the life I chose, and I'm stoked on it. But I know I'm going to let my family decide what they want to do, and
absolutely.
And so like, he rides and stuff, but he also probably grew up just seeing me beat down, laying in bed, recovering half of his life. And
right.
And so I just kind of made this music room that I have, that I'm in right now. This is like this is kind of over.
Oh, wow.
Is his drums. And so it's kind of a little music room. It's also kind of my art studio where I just paint a lot of stuff. And so I just kind of made this place. And I was just like, and Jet started coming in here and just started playing drums. And now he's like, and then he went to a school that was kind of, it's a public school, but it's an art school. And so he majored in percussion. And so he got really, really talented at music. And now he has like 3 punk rock bands that just rip, and he just plays all the time. That's awesome. So, yeah. And even Gianna, she's coming back from, they're going to be out in May, from school, and she's coming back here for a little bit. And she's with her friends written this performance that they're going to do this outside performance here in Oklahoma City. And Jet's going to open for him with just a 2-piece, like him and his friend. That's
phenomenal. That's great.
But it's rad. In the punk rock scene, it's really cool because it's like, now it's like, you know, when I grew up for it, it's like it really showed me passion and showed me like there's different values in life than like money and fame or whatever, you know, and it showed me that that there's greater values in life to embrace, and it taught me a lot. And so I really love that that community is fostering again around me, you know, and maybe it always been a little bit, but it just seems like before the pandemic, it was all these shows, all these punk rock shows are being put on, but they just like the kids are just putting it on, just finding these old warehouses or whatever, and just like ripping it up and just making it happen, you know. It's like and so that was really cool, and it's like this really, it's almost like my punk rock world meets death metal, and some of the styles are, you know, it's just like, it's so rad because these kids are just so mad and so angry, and then you talk to them and they're like after their set, they're like the nicest gentlemen or women or what, like they're so you know, like I was like, man, that music really works for you. It really does. Settle you down and chill out.
It's like therapeutic.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's cool.
Yeah. So were you ever offered like a reality show, like Hanging with the Hoffmans or something like that? Like, like a family, you know, kind of thing?
Oh man, I don't know if I would ever do that to my family, but
no, probably not. Right.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I've always kind of shied away from media. That's why, you know, I mean, this is a rare occasion of me even doing a podcast. So,
I know, man. I know. And
but
I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
I mean, I have to have a connection, you know, I have to have a connection, and it's like, this isn't just about, you know, it's like, you and your family influenced has been part of my life since the beginning, you know? And so it's like, I feel, you know, not obligated, but I feel like I want to be obligated to help whatever your visions or your, you know, what you're dreaming right now too. And so that's why I was stoked to do this. But yeah, I've always been a kind of a shy dude, and I never really, you know, I was lucky to kind of hang out with a lot of, being friends with the people that created the media that I was a part of, you know, so that made that easy. But whenever it's just somebody that wants to come in to my house and try to redefine or translate who I am to the rest of the world, and they have no idea who I am, I don't entertain that, you know, absolutely. That's why I was really lucky with with whenever I did that 30 for 30, the birth of Big Ear, that was my life was translated through like Spike and Jeff and Knoxville and Priya, you know, and people that understood were part of my life, grew up with me, and you know, so it's like, okay, that they can tell the real story, because whenever most people just like, they see me and they just go to the stereotypical, I'm crazy, I'm like a sadomasochist or what, you know. It's like I just, you know, they don't really understand that I just you know, like I don't feel like I'm crazy. I'm you know, like, whatever.
Right, it's you know. And besides the obvious BMX and things like that, you also enjoy creating art. You were showing me some of the paintings. So how long have you been painting, and is it something you've always been interested in, or was it like a newfound interest?
Yeah, I've always loved art obviously, but I like, and I wasn't ever, I mean, I wasn't ever much of a doodler, but I can doodle with a brush, you know, like it's like for some reason, it's just easier for me to paint than it is to draw. And so then I think whenever I got hit by that semi truck and I just was out for like 4 years, I had to escape, you know, and because I just was like, I was so locked up, and I was just like, I was worried about my mental health and like what I was going to do. And I was just going a little crazy. And so like, even though painting, it's a totally different idea than riding a bike, to me, it's kind of the same idea, because it's like when I look at a palette, I'm just like, wow, I'm intimidated. What am I going to do with this? How am I going to, and then when I have this new trick I'm going to do and I want to roll in, I'm like, oh, well, I'm just getting psyched up. I'm like, really? You've got to quit overthinking it. You just have to drop in and just, and hold on and just problem solve in the moment, you know?
Right.
And that's kind of what painting became to me. It was like, it made me find something that gives me that same, like, that same challenge and that same, like, that fear or that just that, that idea that you just have to go for it. You can't like overthink it. Sometimes you just have to drop in and go for it and just figure it out in the moment. And so I was real lucky, because then now I feel like I don't, like, if I didn't, I always try to look at what I like. That's the beauty of any crash or any bad thing that happens to you, is the one thing that you have control of that no one else does, is how you remember it, and how you place that memory. And so like I think of being hit by that semi truck and almost taking my life and messing my arm up and everything. It made me kind of reconnect to the roots of why I rode, and then it also made me discover something else that can fuel my mind and balance my psyche, that I can grow old with, because that was the thing that I always, I was even just talking to Jet, I was like, I kind of, I encourage music more for you, because like now I'm almost 50 years old, and but once I turned 30, I could tell that you got taken out of like where people want to utilize your talents to inspire their inspire their audience or something, and it's like, and it's kind of like, whenever I don't know, it's like I know that bikes is always going to be my first passion, but it's not a passion I can grow old with. So I'm always going to have, but I'm really psyched. I discovered a second passion that I can grow old with, and it can be a part of my life and stuff. So yeah, and that's kind of what music is too. I like the idea that you can develop that skill, and you can like contribute to that community, and you can grow old with that community with that skill. And I'm going to still ride as long as I can, but I ride Vert. Nobody likes Vert anymore, but that's my passion. So I do it all for myself, and it really it doesn't matter to anybody what I do, and I don't really get support from anybody as far as like, I don't do contests, I don't do shows, I don't have sponsors, so it's just like I'm very, very lucky that I have this passion, that I'm still able to perform and be able to like, like I say it this way, it's like being able to ride is like the greatest treasure anybody could ever have, because it's like, most people, they get bummed out and they need help to get kind of, they might have a bad day, but they need some help to kind of get back in a good mood. But for me, it's like, if I have a bad day, I have complete control over my mood. I can go out there and get on my bike. I can challenge myself. I can ride, and nobody else, I didn't have to, like involve anybody else but myself. And I just made my mood better. Like, who can do that? It's like, I'm so lucky, it's like, it's so cool, so that's what riding is for me now. And, but it's just, as like I've dedicated my whole life to it. And it's not a skill that's going to, I'm going to be able to perform my whole life. And it's not a skill that's going to give me any monetary like support anymore. So yeah.
It's funny. Before I started doing this, it was like, I always did like just random odds and ends things. I always wanted to do something creative. I always had a creative side. I never knew what to do. And I myself too, I'm kind of like a shy guy, I do these interviews, I get nervous talking to people, and but I get better at it as I go. And it's one of the silver linings that came out of this whole pandemic, is that I had the opportunity to start doing this, and it's growing every day, and it's amazing. It really is. I never in a million years that I'd be doing something like this, because it's really not me, but at the same time, it is like, I always wanted to find where I wanted to put my creativity. I never could. I tried like music and film and things like that, and I was okay at all of it, but this, I don't know. There's something about this. When I first started doing this, I didn't know what the message was even going to be. I just wanted to talk to cool people, and that's why it's called Hell Fucking Yeah, because I just talked to rad people. But then as it went on, I was like, you know what? All these people's stories, how they got to where they are and where they're going from here, are actually really inspirational for anybody out there who does feel lost, like I've felt lost before. And I think that's the coolest part about this, is that like, it's not just a podcast about, talking about, your favorite movie or whatever. There's a message to it. And I think that it's important. And I'm happy to be part of this thing. It's really cool.
Yeah, man. And that's why, I always like, I've always been, I've always kind of been like adversity creates opportunity. And so I love, like, even though all the shit that happened this last year, it's like, it's good. Sometimes it's good to just mess up your desk and see where shit lands and just like reinvent who you are, how you express yourself and just really just, kind of get out of any ruts. And if anything, anything good from this last year has been that. It's
absolutely
shaking the world up, and everybody's had to rethink and innovate, a new world.
Absolutely. And it made me step out of my comfort zone. It's like, I would never, I would always be nervous talking to people or things like that. And now I'm like so much more comfortable with it. Even in regular everyday situations, I communicate better just because of this. So it's really cool. So before we go, I got a couple things, couple quick fire questions, just kind of 1-word answers. Mat Hoffman's BMX comes out on PlayStation. All right. You put it in the game for the first time. Which rider do you pick?
Oh, myself?
Definitely.
Oh man. See, like I was into the video game because this isn't the one.
No, you can keep,
I was like, wait
you
a
can
minute,
talk.
this isn't gonna be a one word answer. But I was into the video game because I really liked the idea of expressing riding, and so I was really into the idea of style and making sure everything looked right and make sure that all the variations were correct and the flow was correct and that everybody's style was accurate inside the video game. But I was never a gamer, so it's like so I didn't really. Maybe I went down to the gas station when I was a little kid and played Mario Brothers or like Miss Pac-Man, but
sure.
But I never was just a hardcore gamer, so so I kind of I'm not real good at the game questions.
No.
I'm stoked on I'm stoked on how I feel like I brought our community into a game and presented it to the world, but I don't really know much about the game.
Right.
I know like how you can create stuff and how like, I was a part about everything in the game, but I wasn't, but I luckily had, Brian Bright, who was like a very great game maker who understood how to do like all the points and how to calculate all that stuff, or what you had to do as far as all the challenges and stuff. But I was like, I want to make the ramps look good. I want to be able to create your own park. I want to show people how you can tour around and just enjoy and create, create something out of nothing, and just how how BMX is a paradigm shift of reality and how you can create your own reality with it. And but I'm not really sure about. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I want to look like a stud, and I'd pick nasty.
There you go. I was just saying. I'm wondering if you would pick yourself or someone else, because I would pick myself. So
yeah.
Now, obviously, besides all the crazy stunts and everything, you seem like an easygoing guy. However, everyone has a pet peeve. What's yours?
Pet peeve? Pet peeve, man.
Maybe you don't have one.
Okay, this did, like, I don't know. I did have I did bring my mower and they fixed it wrong, and it really hung with me for like a week because I had to fix it myself. And I was just like, man, this is like, I spent so much time on this mower. It's like my bike, It's
yeah.
I brought it to someone and you guys just like threw it together and you didn't even do it right. Now I had to like fix your, so that really was a pet peeve whenever I brought my mower in and it got fixed wrong.
Right. Yeah, I could see that.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I probably got a ton of pet peeves. I just can't think of any right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Craziest thing that ever happened to you on tour, at least the internet safe craziest thing that you'd want the public to know.
Craziest thing, man. Well, I remember when I first went on tour, I did wreck the van, That was kind of. I think your brother was in the van. I almost.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
You were driving.
I was driving. Yeah.
And what happened?
I was like 16, and I was like, I had the trailer in the back, and then someone stopped kind of in front of me really quick. And I tried to I put the brakes on too quick, and I don't know, the trailer just kind of pushed me in. I just smashed this car, and I totaled the car. And there was a couple old people in there, and they said that, they tried to sue me for like $4 million, but I was only 16, so they couldn't really sue me. But
What a number, 4 million.
I know. I was like, but
Where you come up with that?
luckily they were all okay. I mean, they didn't have any sustained injuries or nothing, but it was just, that freaked me out for driving for a while. But
favorite band to ride to?
Fugazi. Yeah, but suicidal tendencies. I see some suicidal there.
Yeah.
But man, I like, if I need to get in the mood, sometimes you crank in, like, especially 900s. That's what really inspired my 900s when I went to try to practice 900s. When I went to try to get 900s down, I put in like it was You Can't Bring Me Down, or Psycho, or like or let's see, like, I'm suicidal. That'll get you focused and ready to, like,
100%.
punch yourself in the face if you have to.
Yeah.
I got to ride to those guys. I did a show in San Diego a couple of years, maybe a few years ago, and I got to watch their show right after our show.
That's
it. Got to like give Mike a high five. So that was cool.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, suicidal. Fugazi is always probably they're just such amazing musicians, and they just
they have that energy
I need to be in.
That's it. So one more. If you could say one more thing to Evel Knievel and he could hear you, what would you say?
Oh man, some people never have to change. Thanks for proving that to me.
There you go. Awesome. Before we go, I'm going to share my screen with you. You got a couple pictures.
Yeah.
So you should see my desktop now.
Yeah.
That's it. Cool. Okay. I need to know, who is this guy?
That's Large Ray.
Who photoshops himself in all these pictures with you.
Oh, wait. Okay. No, wait. It might be something else because.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. You're just talking about Large Ray.
I know Ray. Yeah. I wanted to joke around.
Yeah. Oh man, look at that bad facial hair. I make some good decisions.
This is great. No, this is great. That's called the Fu Manchu, I believe, right?
Yeah, but it was just like my face was like, it was getting white just right there. And I was like, that's kind of meant to be this big Fu Manchu and have these really weird white things hanging down from my face, like fangs.
Yeah.
I like to entertain myself.
Yeah. I love the cheek-to-cheek shots, like the last one with Ray. Ray is the best.
I could spoon him all day.
Isn't he like, I've never met him in person.
I need to spoon Ray right now. Virtual.
You should. I could probably call him right now on Zoom, probably pick up.
Yeah.
He's my favorite. I love this guy. We do some podcasts together, and we made shirts together. We're just two dummies. This is a great picture. He's a little obviously younger here, no beard. This guy's face in the background is kind of crazy. He sent me this. Now, you painted this.
Yes, I did.
But this is of Ray at his competition with the smoke bomb on the back of his bike, right? Yeah.
So this was for Seppi. I think Seppi wanted wanted something, and I don't know. I mean, it's just, it was a commission, but there was no. It was just a commission with this photo of him riding, but it was in black and white. The photo was, and so I didn't really know how I was going to put Seppi in it. So I just thought, I don't know. Seppi kind of reminded me of Tinkerbell, in his magical way of how he rode and stuff.
I was going to ask,
Seppi into Tinkerbell. Yeah, but then I sent him. I painted this on a sheet of skate light. Mm-hmm. And then Seppi is a amazing wood craftsman, and he made this bowl around it as a frame.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing. The stuff that Ray has in his house, I want to rob his house. He's got the best stuff. Here's one more. This one, a little throwback here for you. Ray sent me this too. So this is obviously your ad for Swatch.
Yeah.
Do you remember what year this was, or?
It was like 87, I think. Because I think
Wow.
we shot that because we were on the Swatch Impact tour and we were in New York for one of the shows. And we went by the Swatch studio. And so, and then they brought us into a studio. Well, we went to the Swatch like headquarters or whatever, and they had a studio there, and they brought us in there to snap some photos. So, and that was like, I looked like I was 87 mode with Vision streetwear pants and and
absolutely.
Bad
Throwback,
haircut.
man. You know what's funny? This style is like back. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if Swatch is still a company. Are they?
I think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see them much around anymore. But I think I saw someone say something like on one of their, like, I don't know, something that they picked them up as a sponsor again or something.
Right. Well, yeah, like I said, that style's coming back, so they'll probably make a comeback. So Matt, your innovation, persistence, and never quit attitude has not only saved the sport of BMX, but has been and continues to be an inspiration to all of us. So on behalf of myself, the BMX universe, and all the dream chasers out there, I want to say thank you.
Oh man, thank you.
I really want to thank you for taking the time out to be on this this podcast. I really appreciate it.
Hell fucking yeah.
Hell fucking you. Well, I normally I have my one more question where I ask, on a scale from 1 to hell fucking yeah, how excited were you to be here today? And then you would say,
hell fucking yeah.
Hell fucking yeah.
Yeah. So I just had to emulate your little kitty in the background.
Yeah. What's that?
I had to emulate your little kitty in the background.
Oh yeah, this guy right here. So yeah, man, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Let's keep in touch, man.
Yeah, give my love to your family too, man.
I
yeah,
will do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send this over to Joe, and maybe you guys can, get on the phone or something. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I gotta get out to New York and like get a break off with him.
Absolutely.
Skills. I can pop.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Let me know if you're ever out in New York.
All right, cool, man. All right, thanks, brother.
Matt, thank you.
All right, peace.
All right, peace.
Hell fucking yeah! It's the Hell Fucking Yeah podcast.